Hi, my name is Angel Wilson, and this is my online presentation, Psychoeducational Group Counseling for Female Adolescent Young Adult Trauma Survivors. Who are the survivors? These young ladies are our sisters, daughters, mothers, nieces, wives, and friends whose lives have been tragically affected by childhood trauma. The threat of harm involving the trauma survivors mostly begins with their primary family system or a close member of the family. Childhood traumas such as witnessing domestic violence, physical and sexual abuse is a serious problem in the United States because in some cases the trauma disrupts the developing brain, causing deficiencies that affect the child's functioning. Issues affecting the population. Doctors have observed children that suffer from traumatic events and now can explain the psychological, emotional, and behavioral effects of children who are abused. The disruption of critical times of brain development can lead to major abnormalities or neural development deficiencies which affect the child negatively. The regulatory activating system (RAS) is one of the systems affected in the brain. The RAS system and its effects. The RAS system involves the arousal, anxiety, and moderation of limbic and cortical processing. The limbic system is responsible for our emotions and the development of memories. The system structure of the limbic system are the hypothalamus, the hippocampus, and the amygdala. Our anger and aggression is controlled by the hypothalamus. Continuing of information involving the RAS system. The hippocampus, the hippocampus is a vital part of the brain that affects our memory and learning. New studies believe that if it also affects our behavior inhibitory system, which controls a person's inappropriate behavior. The amygdala, which is also significant to the limbic system, influences a person's emotional memory, processing, interpreting, and integrating emotional functions. The components of the amygdala is to help us recognize threats. Relationship challenges the survivors face. Some individuals who are affected by physical abuse as children externalize their mistrust for others by displaying actions of aggression instead of using words. Other correlations to physical abuse is poor social skills, anxiety, fear, substance abuse history, major depression, and PTSD in adults. All of these correlations hinders a person's relationship with others. Now research suggests that children, with prolonged histories of sexual abuse have a change in their personality that alters their relationship with others. One model also looks at the child's behavior towards themselves and others. This model dynamics includes self-blame, fragmentation of bodily experience, destructiveness, dissociative disorder, and attachment disorder, all of which hinders a child's relationship with others. Mental abuse the survivors might suffer. One of the most common disorders that children who who has a past history of trauma is post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. Symptoms include, but not limited to, flashbacks, difficulty staying asleep, anger, disinterested with significant activities, and feelings of detachment from others. Other psychological disorders that have been linked to individuals who have exposure to sexual or physical abuse are substance abuse, antisocial personality disorder, and borderline disorder. Behavior disturbances. Young ladies who are victims of abuse report having feelings of hopelessness, helplessness, and powerlessness, which causes them to have an absent hope of the future. Having these absent thoughts in regard to a better outcome leads some ladies to engage in self-destructive behaviors. Other behaviors these ladies have are anger and aggression towards self and others, engaging in sexually inappropriate activities, difficulty concentrating, and being hypervigilant as a result of the abuse. The psychoeducation group itself. Psychoeducation format allows the participants to gain information about what abuse is and what the impact of abuse can be on their thoughts and actions. The group format provides a supportive environment that promotes group cultivated factors and mutual aid. They include sharing information, mutual support, mutual demand, problem solving, and the all in the same boat phenomenon, shared experience, and shared purpose. Strength is in numbers. Psychoeducation group counseling. The group will involve young ladies ages 14 through 19 years old who have past trauma experience that involve witnessing domestic violence and sexual and physical abuse. The group will meet for 12 weeks, 1 hour block meeting weekly. Material that will be discussed in the psychoeducational format are identifying what violence and sexual abuse is, what causes anger, how gossiping affects people, what sadness and depression look like, what the effects of drugs and alcohol has on a person's body, how self-mutilating can affect a person, learning new coping skills and hobbies, and how to love self. In my observation of young lady survivors, are lots of young ladies who have past histories of trauma that suffer tremendously over a span of life because they are not given early intervention and support. I've worked in numerous locations throughout Cincinnati and Kentucky that deals with the juvenile and adult court system, mental health agency, hospital, and schools. Working in these different agencies leads me to believe that most of the newer cases of abuse and neglect are a continual cycle of abuse from the adult past childhood history. Some of the individuals I've worked close with grew up in areas where the drug lords received all their money and food stamps. Others were physically, sexually, and emotionally abused by caregivers or friends. Due to the lack of attention given to the victim as a child, we now see behaviors such as self-cutters, violent assaults on others, substance abuse increase, high dropout rates, low self-esteem rise, and a dissociative personality towards loved one increase. The end.